for allowing me to take this platform this evening. I am Kirstyn Marriott, as already been mentioned. I am an advocate for truth. I'm a wellness ambassador, and I'm a voice for health choice for Oodgeroo. Now, I find it really difficult to comprehend what's actually happening in a really rapid pace here in Queensland. As everyone else is saying, what the heck have we got ourselves in for? So I'll just give you some background of me. So I was born and raised in Redland, Victoria. So if you're from Victoria at the minute, we're in Trinity, currently. So I married a farmer, moved to the country. We had a 700 head dairy farm. We decided that dairy farming was pretty hard after about 16 years of married life and raising 3 kids on the farm. We came to beautiful Redlands in 2008. We love the lifestyle in the Redlands, as this is probably what you're looking into, is that correct? Yeah. So the thing that I've seen since 2008 is that rapid expansion and development that's taken place. Where I reside, there was paddocks, and now there are those little boxes and houses. You know, in a rapid rate, this has happened. So the laid-back lifestyle has eroded rapidly, and that's a concern for us. I've had a business background of over 3 decades in the various ranges. I can probably talk to you about anything. There's real estate, banking, agriculture, and wellness education as well comes in there too. Now, I work closely with the UK medical researcher Philip Day for the last 20 years. And so some of the information that I will share with you this evening, you may find it disturbing and confronting. Because you'll find that our health and wellness, there's a lot of cover-ups as there is in local government. So some of the things that you may have held true, you might find a little bit of cognitive dissonance, but I feel compelled that I need to let you know so you can make an informed choice about how to manage your health and well-being. So the information I present to you tonight, the onus is on each individual to do their own research, and you have been provided a little flyer to take away to start doing that for yourself. Don't believe everything that I say, but then also don't believe everything that other people say. Do your own research, because that is where you have power. That's where it comes from. Okay, I am solution focused, and I look at the root cause of an issue. So if there is an issue, I will get to the reason why there is that issue. And it can be health, it can be anything. And I'm not a band-aid kind of a girl. I kind of like get it sorted and let's find it so that everybody benefits from it. So with the current so-called pandemic that we're effectively saying Queensland is closed for business, with no regard for human freedom. So we actually cannot travel outside of the state without being locked up. I have a mother in Victoria, and my husband's parents are in Victoria as well. We can't go down there and visit them if they're elderly and support them in their times of need. Or we can if we want to come back and spend 14 days in a prison cell, basically, effectively. Because of this, what's going on now. So you've seen the rules and regulations of our social distancing. We've got, what's this elbow bump? You know, what's this? We're being conditioned that our neighbour, our family member is a biohazard. And this is alarming. It's actually eroding the fibre of our community and their well-being. It's creating mental health issues amongst many, many people. And the suicide rates, we're not hearing about them, but they are high. We're not hearing about it in the news because we're here to save you from this coronavirus. So the whole event of COVID hinges on the scare tactics created by politicians and health professionals, withholding information and closing towns to suit some sort of political agenda. So the town of Blackwater is a prime example of that, where our Premier and Chief Medical Officer and Health Minister actually withheld information where the testing of the man that passed was actually negative. They knew that on Friday, they didn't release that information until Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning. So the whole family were guilted and shamed for bringing a virus into their town. So that is on top of dealing with the death of a loved one. Where is our humanity gone? There is no excuses for this, and in that we see the fanning of the community panic, and that's not acceptable. For business people who conduct their business internationally and interstate, they're impacted financially, and the other added cost burdens of mandatory quarantine when they self-funded hotel room. So we've been led to believe it's as dangerous as the Spanish flu of 1918, of which killed 50 million people worldwide, and that at that time the population was 1.8 billion people. Proportionately, if it was that lethal as the Spanish flu, we'd be seeing 210 million dying today, worldwide. We've seen 0.9 million, and that's the death so far. So assuming that this number is correct and doesn't include comorbidities, morbidities, then that's all very sad. But again, we have 60 million people on average ordinarily die each year. We all die, just so you didn't know whether you knew that, we all do die. It has always been clear from the beginning that the most at risk are the elderly with pre-existing immune conditions. And that we need to protect our elderly. But if you ask the elderly, do they want to be with their families, or do they want to be locked up in a room with no physical contact, you may have a different. They may rather catch the virus and risk it than be isolated from their families. We just need to ask them and not make those decisions for them. And there is a remedy already existing that conveniently became banned in February 2020. So that is interesting in itself. So a drug that's been available and prescribed for decades for malaria and other issues was magically removed from doctors prescribing this particular remedy. And so did you know that if there is a remedy already existing, that they can't actually go in and produce a vaccination? So just let that sit with you there. And here we are, we talk about vaccines, and it's as mandatory as possible according to our Prime Minister, and yet not one member of Parliament has died from the virus, lost their job from the virus, or lost their business from the virus. The testing of this vaccine has been on hold as there's been some adverse reactions, paralysing some of the participants, being one of them. Not to mention the company in production has had multiple successful lawsuits over a number of years on their product safety and efficiency of their medications. So I'm concerned about the erosion of our rights to education and medical care through these coercive policies and the forced removal of children from their homes on medical grounds. The environmental and subsequent health effects of the toxic industrial waste products that get added to our drinking water and beautiful waterways. The level and extent of contamination is having a detrimental effect both on human health and the environment. And I would like to action the reduction of environmental and human exposure to toxic substances. The destruction of natural landscapes for profit with little consideration of the environmental impact and the destruction of the balanced ecosystem that is home to our sea life and our native flora and fauna, all in the name of creating jobs, need to be seriously scrutinised. It's not all about jobs and growth when these jobs create destruction. The Greater Redlands is a place where we all live and enjoy the natural quiet lifestyle. When the elected are more interested in profits and benefactor margins than that of what the people hold dear, then we do have a problem. So when my children were young, I learned that some of the accepted routine medical procedures are not always the best way to support a healthy and robust immune system. I've experienced many health challenges with them, including constant illnesses, ear, nose, throat issues, skin issues, chronic eczema, hurdles with learning, some learning issues as well, and comprehension. So the questions started to arise about what's the safety of some of these well-known medical practices that we just line up without much information. And also suffered some health challenges along the way. So with many people questioning the effects of vaccination on long-term health, we're now faced with coercive vaccination policies affecting the rights to education and financial support. No jab, no play, no jab, no pay. This would impact on where we travel or if we ever travel or where we shop. So body autonomy is under threat with manufactured consent and coercive measures. After watching my father suffer medical coercion and bullying and the creep towards extreme coercive measures, I've decided to stand up and call out the corruption which plagues our medical systems, including government overreach. I have a problem with government enforcing Australians to submit to products that are dangerous, playing Russian roulette with our health and well-being, and yet they are indemnified along with the manufacturers of their products when they may be killed. I believe individuals have the right to informed consent, which should be honoured by all medical practitioners. Medical professionals need to be working towards an end goal of the patient being returned to optimal health in a stress-free and supportive environment. And did you know that doctors who question vaccine safety or effectiveness or necessity can face disciplinary action? With 50% of the population with autoimmune disease, we have to start asking the right questions. We have better sanitation and hygiene than ever before, however we are plagued with more and more disease. So 50% of the population suffer some kind of autoimmune disease, and there is a link there, but you may want to follow up some of this. So from bowel diseases to skin irritations, multiple sclerosis, asthma, they're all autoimmune diseases, so there's 80 plus of them. Rheumatoid arthritis is another one there as well. So an autoimmune disease is a condition in which your immune system mistakenly attacks your body. So the immune system normally guards against germs like bacteria and viruses. When it senses these foreign invaders, it sends out an army of fighter cells to attack them. So in the past, if you've had a virus and then go to the doctor, what does the doctor actually ask you to do? Go home, take a Panadol? Yeah. But now we are told that we're lining up for something else. So normally the immune system can tell the difference between foreign cells and your own cells, and an autoimmune disease, the immune system mistakes part of your body, like your joints or skin, as foreign. It relates proteins called antibodies that attack healthy cells, and the vaccine is actually considered a foreign entity. So how can this be so? It's a process called biotechnology, and as you can't patent a naturally occurring virus, it needs to be manufactured. So on the Gardasil vaccine, for example, it states virus-like particles or viral vessels. It is not the naturally occurring virus. Biotechnology is not immunology. A lab virus cannot replicate the same immune response in the body as a natural occurring virus. Add to the mix of adjuvants, thimerosal, formaldehyde and aluminium, we're creating a load on the body, getting down a slippery slope fast of ill health. So here's the dose of the list of what we've got today. 1960, 13 doses, 1975, 19 doses, 1996, 26 doses. Now for 2018, 49 doses. Add the 3 shots in there and got 49 doses. Now, to add to insult to injury, our Indigenous children are receiving an additional 12 vaccines from that dosage there, 49. So I believe strongly in supporting the Indigenous Australians and our Pondomoka people to have the opportunity to freely embrace their culture, traditions, including traditional medical practices. A better understanding of the complexity and importance of Indigenous law and culture is needed in closing the gap. So the argument usually is for vaccines that they've watered down. The vaccine is usually always introduced after the virus is left. And there are no safety studies versus the placebo. So some of the ingredients in vaccines are actually from aborted fetal tissue. Now I don't have time to go into that further, but that should alarm you. The actual biotechnology is actually a moral issue. I'm just going to skip through to Juna, because that's what you want to know. The questions. It's really embarrassing actually to live in the Redlands for as long as I have, to not really know much about it until 2 weeks ago and go, how is this so? How many people here have heard about the Toondah Harbour issue? Do we need another 360 compact apartments here? Oh, is it more than that? So we got a couple of zeros off, that's even worse. So, yeah, so do people get notified in the mail? I just want to know, because I didn't get a letter. Right, and paper advertisements, is that in there as well? Yeah, I didn't see it. So obviously there's been a lot of canvassing of the population. So that with these type of scrutiny, we need to know, keep the bastards honest, basically. So basically, just to leave you with this final little statement here, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. So thank you for your time.